I didn't see you there. Are you here? Are you here for the same reason I am? Are you in my channel to find out what 21 books I'm most excited about? Well, welcome to Book to Books. Yeah, these are my 21 most anticipated books, and it was so hard to pick. So difficult. So please look at my description box because I have a spreadsheet full of 58 wonderful books that honestly I should have included in this video, but it would have been too long. So anyway, here are my top 21 books for 2021. I hope you enjoy. Alright, first up we have Romeo and Jewel by Dana L. Davis. This is expected to be released in January, and it's a Romeo and Juliet with a Hamilton twist and a diverse cast. Young adult contemporary. And then we have The Charmed Wife by Olga Grushin, and it's set to be released in January. And it's a fantasy retelling. Its description is, Cinderella married the man of her dreams, the perfect ending she deserved after diligently following all the fairy tale rules. Yet now, 2 children and 13 and a half years later, things have gone badly wrong and her life is far from perfect. Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I'm actually looking forward to this one a lot. It's set to be released in January, and its description is, America in 1954 is not a safe place for 2 girls to fall in love, especially not in Chinatown. The Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father, Kitty and Kath risk everything to let their love see the light of day. And this is a historical fiction, young adult, LGBT romance, you know, all the best things. The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and this is a romance contemporary. When the struggling station needs a new concept, Shay proposes a show that her boss greenlights with excitement. On the X Talk, 2 exes will deliver relationship advice live on air. Their boss decides Shay and Dominic are the perfect co-hosts, given how much they already despise each other. If I Disappear by Eliza Hayne Brazier. This is a thriller mystery fiction, and it's set to be released in January 26. When her favorite true crime podcast host goes missing, an adrift young woman plunges headfirst into the wild backcountry of Northern California and her own dangerous obsession. Dun dun dun. Ooh, okay. This is Courtney Summers' The Project. And it's a young adult thriller mystery, and the only thing I wrote down for the description was cult. And I'm obsessed with anything cult related just because I find the psychology behind cults so interesting. So of course this is in my top 21 picks of this year because it's based on a cult. If you want to know more, I do have the Goodreads linked to all of the books in the spreadsheet, so go ahead and take a look at that. And then we have What Big Teeth by Rose Zabo, and it's set to be released in February. And this is described as Miss Peregrine's home for peculiar children meets the Addams family in this haunting story of one girl's attempt to reconnect with her monstrous family. And this is a young adult horror fantasy, paranormal retellings, I don't know. It just sounds really interesting. This one I'm actually really interested in. This is a young adult fantasy, and it's The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. 16-year-old Decca lives in fear and anticipation of the blood ceremony that will determine whether she will become a member of her village. Already different from everyone else because of her unnatural intuition, Decca prays for red blood so she can finally feel like she belongs. But on the day of the ceremony, her blood runs gold, the color of impurity, and Decca knows she will face a consequence worse than death. Then a mysterious woman comes to her with a choice. Stay in the village and submit to your fate, or leave to fight for the emperor in an army of girls just like her. Of course, we know what she chooses, but doesn't that book just sound so refreshing? I don't know, it sounds amazing. So of course it's going to be in my top 21 most anticipated. And then we have Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. And this is set to be released February 23rd, and it's a contemporary romance with a little gay sprinkled in. With her newly completed PhD in astronomy in hand, 28-year-old Grace Porter goes on a girls' trip to Vegas to celebrate. She's a straight A, work through the summer certified high achiever. She is not the kind of person who goes to Vegas and gets drunkenly married to a woman whose name she doesn't know. Until she's exactly that. And that's it. It's Morgan Rogers' first novel, so read it. It sounds interesting. It has a little bit of self-discovery, or a lot of self-discovery. Yeah, you know what I mean. And then we have Blackbird Girls by Anne Blackman, and this is set to be released in March 10th. And it's a 2 timelines story, one in 1986 Chernobyl, and another set in 1941 running away from the Germans and Russians. In both time periods, the girls must learn who to trust and how to have hope in the midst of horrible events. Then we have She's Too Pretty to Burn by Wendy Hurd, release date March 30th. An electric romance set against a rebel art scene sparks lethal danger for 2 girls in this expertly plotted YA thriller. For fans of E. Lockhart, Lauren Oliver, and Kara Thomas, this sexy psychological thriller explores the intersections of love, art, danger, and power. And it's a young adult thriller, LGBT mystery, all of the above. Then we have The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Maldavsky, and it's set to be released in April, and it's a young adult horror thriller. The Mary Shelley Club, a secret club of students with one objective: come up with the scariest prank to orchestrate real fear. But as the pranks escalate, the competition turns cutthroat and takes on a life of its own. Dun dun dun, dun dun dun. I have this on my list because it's for lovers of Daisy Jones and the Six, and I was obsessed with this book this year. Daisy Jones and the Six took me out of a slump that I was stuck in for a couple months, and then I read that book and I was like, holy crap, that was amazing, and it got me a little bit into historical fiction. So this is, of course, one of my top 21 books, and it's the final revival of Opal and Nev by Dany Walton, Afro-punk band in the 70s. The final revival of Opal and Nev also uses the technique of oral history to tell the story of the rise of the unlikely rock and roll duo, the fateful night that catapulted them into relative fame, their potential reunion years later, and the ugly secret at the center of it all. And it's a historical fiction about music. If you read Daisy Jones and the Six, it's like very similar to that, so yeah. And then we have a young adult LGBT contemporary again, and this is She Drives Me Crazy by Kellen Quinlan, and it's set to be released in April. High school nemesis fall in love in this queer YA rom-com, hijinks, heartbreak, and gay fake dating scheme for the ages. I'm pretty sure you have all heard of this one. Andy Weir, the author of The Martian, is coming out with a new book that's due to be released in May, titled Project Hail Mary. Part scientific mystery, part dazzling interstellar journey, Project Hail Mary is a tale of discovery, speculations, and survival to rival the Martian, while taking us to places it never dreamed of going. Oh, this one sounds really interesting, and it's titled Luck of the Titanic by Stacey Lee, due to be released in May. The richly imagined story of Valora and Jamie Luck, twin British-Chinese acrobats traveling aboard the Titanic on its ill-fated maiden voyage. Stacey Lee, master of historical fiction, brings a fresh perspective to an infamous tragedy, loosely inspired by the recently uncovered account of 6 Titanic survivors of Chinese descent. Okay, these are the last 5, so here we go. We have Off the Record by Cameron Garrett. This is a young adult contemporary. One woman's account leads to another and another. Josie wants to expose the man responsible, but she's reluctant to speak up, unsure if this is her story to tell. Then we have The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nagy Vo. It's set to be released in June, and this is a historical retelling LGBT adult fantasy. Nagy Vo's debut novel reinvents this classic of the American canon as a coming-of-age story full of magic, mystery, and glittering excess, and introduces a major new literary voice. And it's in the 1920s, which is, I don't know, amazing. The Ghost We Keep by Mason Daver. This book is about grief, but it's also about why we live and why we have to keep moving on and why we should. It's a young adult LGBT contemporary, and it's set to be released June 1st, and it's supposed to break your heart but help you put it back together. And then we have an anthology titled Blackout, and it's edited by Danielle Clayton. Aya's got this month another anthology with Danielle Clayton in it, A Universe of Wishes, which I'm actually really looking forward to reading. But yeah, this anthology is 6 critically acclaimed, best-selling, and award-winning authors bring glowing warmth and electricity to Black teen love to this interlinked novel of charming, hilarious, and heartwarming stories that shine a bright light through the dark. And it's set to be released in June 22nd. It does not have a cover as of yet. And finally, we have If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. This is her first adult romance. It honestly sounds amazing. Its description is, after having just graduated with a degree in shoe design and trying to get her feet on the ground, Cindy is working for her stepmother, who happens to be the executive producer of America's favorite reality show. When a spot on the show needs filling ASAP, Cindy volunteers, hoping it might help her jumpstart her fashion career, or at least give her something to do while her peers land jobs in the world of high fashion. Turns out being the only plus-size woman on a reality dating competition makes a splash, and soon Cindy becomes a body-positive icon for women everywhere. What she doesn't expect? That she may just find inspiration and love in the process. Ultimately, Cindy learns that if the shoe doesn't fit, maybe it's time to design your own. And I love Cinderella retellings, so I'm really excited about this one. And Julie Murphy is an amazing author. Yeah, no, that's it. Those are my 21 most anticipated books for 2021, and I had to narrow this list down so much. It was so difficult, so please do me and yourself a favor and go look at the list down in the description, because there's so many. And if you have any input at all about what other books are coming out that are not in my list, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to add more books. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing start to the new year. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with my January TBR. Bye, guys!